Welcome to Rainbow Soul Vodcast, where our Soulstrology comes forward to help you manage your everyday life, with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Bright Hawk's positive perspective and Lacrosse's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else Rainbow Soul is offered on our website at rainbowsoul.show.
Right. And then as we move on to Gemini, my Gemini friends, I want to say that Mars has been dancing on your sun for sure. If your sun is in Gemini, Mars has danced on your sun. So if you've had an explosion since fall or maybe several, try to forgive yourself, okay? Because Mars has been dancing on there, trying to teach you and deliver a message. And the moon is going to come in and add a little bit of motion at the beginning of the week. So, again, especially around your identity, how you identify, how you handle yourself and present yourself to the world. So Gemini friends, hang in there.
Count your blessings. Find a way to count your blessings, because that's the only way through. That's really the way through. And, Gemini has had, for the last 6 months, Gemini, everybody has had to deal with doing everything multiple times because of that Mars retrograde. So now that things are starting to move through, it hopefully will get a little easier for you, but I can't imagine it's not been intense.
It will. Mars will leave your sign at the in just a couple of weeks a couple weeks in March.
Into March.
So it's late. It's later March. Okay. So it is on its way out of your sign. And so if you found yourself losing your temper or other things like that, just forgive yourself and hopefully ask for forgiveness from anyone you lost your temper on. Mercury, Mercury's going to move from your house of higher thinking and then right into your house of career. So like part of me is thinking you could easily in just this week have it earlier in the week thinking of a better out of the box way of doing something, and then by the end of the week start applying it. Now you may not get it right perfectly in the beginning, just because sometimes Pisces can be a little delusional, but just keep messing with it and I'm pretty sure it will work out. Like you might just have to shift it a little bit because it's watery, this is Pisces. And so things are watery. They're not solid. So, as Mercury moves into there, also remember Mercury rules Gemini. So this is also your communication about things. Maybe you've thought of earlier in the week a great way to do something or a great way to talk about something with someone. Because Gemini, if you have a strong Gemini placement, my bet is that you do something that requires talking, okay? You do some sort of job, whether you're in customer service or you're a counselor or something like that, some way you are going to be talking to people, okay? And so when Mercury moves over into Pisces, it might mean that you still need to adjust it, but it will be better and it could be applied to your career, especially since Mercury is going to move right over the MC. And then, the other thing is that Pluto's in your 8th house. So I'm just going to say it's been there a while. It will be moving out soon into Aquarius, but it's going to move into your house of higher thinking. So that makes me think about there could be some stuff going on around death. You could be thinking about death or contemplating death. Maybe someone's passed in your circle. And if that's happening or power dynamics, or things like that, okay? Pluto, where it is, it says it's in 29 degrees Capricorn. In this coming year, it's going to move over into the 9th house, move back, move over, move back. It's going to move back and forth in a retrograde fashion. So I'm pretty sure if you're going through grief or something this year, hang in there. Try to listen to out of the box ways, out of the box and practical ways of healing yourself. That it will happen. And that's what I'm seeing, like that stands out to me. Just because it could really affect some people's lives on a really deep level. And so if you find yourself going through transformation this year, just embrace the transformation. Someone has passed away and now you have to learn to accept it and you're in grief. There you go. There it is. Especially if you're a Gemini, you're going to start noticing it, and probably also for Cancers. So, and then the other thing is that, you know, the sun is in your 10th house, Gemini. So it's showing you which way to go in your career. It's pointing your way. And Ceres is down in your house of creativity and romance. So make sure that you're taking that time out for romance, or make sure you're taking the time out for nurturing yourself and taking care of yourself. Nurture your love and your relationships, because Ceres is in Libra and it's in opposition to Venus and Jupiter up in Aries, which is your 11th house, which 11th house usually is friends, but it could also be relationships and things like that. And the 5th house rules romance. So you might want to just be paying attention to that, my Gemini friends. And, you know, Gemini, you may not know exactly where you're headed because the North Node is in the 12th house right now, okay, for you. And so it could sometimes make you feel like other people know what your purpose is, but you don't. So if that happens, no worries. You might have, if you tap into your psychic sense, you'll be able to tap into that, okay? And I think that's the biggest. Did you see anything else, Bright Hawk?
No, I was just going to say, yeah, when you said tap into your psychic sense, tap into your spiritual innate, what draws your attention, what fills your cup, what lights you up, what makes you feel like, yeah, I want more of that. The 12th house, the other thing to be, shall we say, warned about, especially with Uranus in the 12th house, is self-sabotage, self-doubt. Believe in yourself. You're a good person. It's okay. A 12th house can really create a lot of, did I do okay? Am I all right? So, and Uranus can be revolutionary, unexpected, who knows what. So that always makes me say, be good to yourself, be careful. Yeah.
Right. So my Cancer friends, you got a lot going on in your career right now, don't you? It feels a little overwhelming. Maybe there's a lot of shifts, a lot of changes going on, or maybe even some new relationships regarding business, especially with Venus up there in the 10th house. So she might be bringing some relationships around business. And Mercury is in your house. It will move again from the house of death, sex, death, and taxes over into the 9th house. So again, it makes me think about your thinking going from I'm thinking about and dealing with certain types of grief, or I've lost something or someone. And it's going to just move over top of Saturn and try to help change your thinking about it. So if something comes to you this week where you're like, oh, that would totally, if I just shifted and had gratitude, it would change the way I experience things. That's right, my friends. That's right. So if something like that happens, just stay open to it. You know, Cancer, you're open to different ways of thinking, and changing is okay for you. So you're okay with change, especially if it benefits your ultimate being within. I do want to say that Mars is in your 12th house, so be wary of your tone of voice, especially if you're kind of irritable about something else, and then your tone of voice could come across as like, gosh, why are you so bitchy, right? And you didn't mean to be that way at all. You're like, gosh, shit. Okay, so just be aware. Try to just be aware of your tone of voice. Don't let that take over.
Because there's a natural self-centeredness that happens with the moon passing through your first house in Cancer. Moon comes home. You're just sort of seeing the world through your perspective. And so, yeah, there's just that little bit of, while it may seem perfect to you at the time to blurt out whatever it is, being a little mindful might go a long way in the diplomacy department.
And yeah, and the moon is going to start out in the 12th house, but your emotions will become more aware. And I know sometimes Cancer, you have a hard time getting to those soft, mushy parts within you. They are under that hard shell, I assure you. You have soft, mushy parts. And as you start to become aware of them, by the end of the week, those could start to call on some of your values, especially that, the nobility around those values. Like, this is the right thing to do again. Okay. And be sure you nurture yourself, including your roots. Okay. Because it's still in opposition. And so, but she'll move out of opposition Ceres will move out of opposition by the end of the week, but Venus will be in opposition to Ceres, which is relationships. So I just wonder, about nurturing your relationships, especially your relationships with people of your roots. So that could be your parents or somebody else that comes from where you're from. Okay.
Thank you for listening to this week's Soulstrology and subscribing, liking, sharing, and reviewing. We hope you enjoyed this dose of Soulstrology and encourage you to embrace the week ahead with an open mind and heart so that you may integrate the deepest of lessons from the stars. Take a moment to step outside and honor the planets, stars, and moon in the sky with your heart. Integrate the messages that resonate and leave the rest for someone else. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember that you are a perfectly unique human with an exclusive star map of your destiny, your soul purpose, and your heart's desire. Thank you again for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.